What's up everyone, Duncan here, and in today's video I want to talk to you about LED strip lighting. Specifically, how to use it to get the best effect out of your strip lights. I'm also going to talk a little bit about what you shouldn't do, all of which I've learned by doing things the wrong way and then learning from my experiences. So right now I'm standing in a custom home that the firm that I work for has recently completed and put on the market. And as you can see, the kitchen behind me is a great example of how you can use LED strip lighting and really accomplish some great effect. So I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about why this works so well. I'm also going to show you some examples of some other installations that I have done. And I'm also going to show you some examples of some installations that don't look quite so good. And we'll talk through why that is. So there are 4 basic principles that I always try to follow for my LED installations. And following these 4 principles have helped me take my installations to the next level. And I think they're going to be useful to you whether you are just starting out with LED strips or whether you're more experienced with them. And the first principle that I always like to follow is what I like to call the ninja principle. And so here's what I mean. A ninja should never be seen. And it's the same thing with your LED strips. If you can see them, you're already dead. So you may have seen some TikTok videos or YouTube videos where folks will just run strip lights around the top of the wall and you can clearly see each individual LED strip light. Do not do this. You are better than that. And it just looks bad. The best installations are the ones where you never know there is lighting there until you turn it on. Now there's any number of ways to accomplish this, no matter what you're lighting up. For example, here we've hidden the LED strips behind the crown molding. But my rule is that if I can't hide the strip, I don't install it, period. We must be like the ninja, unseen until we strike. The second principle that I like to follow for my LED installation is distance equals diffusion. Because of the nature of how LED strips are made and function, if you mount them too close to any surface, you'll get what is called hot spots. You get the same thing if you mount them in a shallow extrusion. Now these LED strips are embedded in a piece of aluminum channel, which is then embedded into the wall. This aluminum channel is an inch deep, which allowed me to mount the LED strips on the side of the channel rather than on the back of it. And the combination of placing the LEDs on the side and also the depth of the channel itself gives a very clean, diffused light, and you cannot see the individual LED strip lights themselves, as opposed to some of my earlier installations where I use very shallow extrusions and the hot spots from the individual LEDs are clearly visible. So here's the trick for getting rid of hot spots. Distance equals diffusion. And my third rule for professional level LED installations is actually the hardest one for me to follow personally. And that is less is more. So look, I love this stuff. I put LEDs on everything. I put LEDs where there is no business and no need to have LEDs in the first place. But unless you're attempting to turn your house into the latest downtown rave scene, there's a certain sophistication in restraint. So here is a great example that I pulled off of Instagram. And as you can see, they're really only using LED strip lights in a few locations. We've got one under the vanity here. We've got a couple that are flanking the mirror, and the floating ceiling is wrapped. I'd also like to point out they're all very concealed very nicely. They're either indirect and hidden or they're in a lens and you don't see any hot spots. But as you can see, with just focusing on a few key areas, it really has an absolutely brilliant effect. It accomplishes the intended effect of elevating this bathroom to a whole different luxury spa feeling without overdoing it. It's really top shelf work. And then on the other extreme, you have this. Now, there's nothing wrong with going full discotheque with your strip lighting. To be honest, my apartment is probably closer to the second example than it is to the first. But I do believe that there is a line between classy, sophisticated, sexy use of LED lighting, like we have in this bathroom, that if you're not careful can cross over into full-blown, dirty strip club vibes, which is fine if that's what you're going. No judgment from me. And finally, the fourth rule that I always try to follow with my LED installations is to hit that like button and subscribe so I can get paid and buy more LED strip lights. Actually, the fourth principle is really more of a guideline than it is a rule. And I like to call it, how slutty do you like it? I really enjoy working with Wi-Fi capable color changing or RGB LED strips. And I like the Wi-Fi capable ones specifically because they're compatible with the various Google or Amazon Home Assistants. And so I use these color changing strips almost exclusively, including on installs that I do for clients, unless the client specifically requests otherwise. But the key to using RGB strip well is to focus on lighting zones. This works especially well in an open concept home or office environment, but you can make this work for you even in a normal size living room, bedroom, she shed, workshop, basement dungeon, red room, whatever you got, you can make this stuff work for you. The idea is to use distinct colors in distinct places of the space to create specific moods or areas or zones that have their own personality and their own attributes, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. So, for example, if I tell my home assistant that it's movie time, some lights turn on, some lights turn off, some lights change colors, and it helps set the mood for a relaxing evening in front of the television. So as you can see, you can really use these lighting zones to alter the way a space functions and feels, to use it to highlight certain attributes, for example, if you had a piece of art on the wall, and to adjust the lighting depending on what activity it is that you're doing there. So those are my 4 guiding principles to help get your LED installations to the next level of professionalism. They've served me well in my installations, and I hope that they present some value and help you with your installations as well, whether you're just trying to fix up your own place a little bit or whether you're trying to make a little bit of money on the side. Now, if you made it this far, go ahead and hit like and hit subscribe. Help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Leave some comments about what your favorite principle is for installing LED lighting, or maybe some little lessons that you've learned. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.